Hey guys, this is my look for the first challenge in the NYX Nordic Face Awards. First theme was Northern Lights, so I created this look with a beautiful night sky and a polar bear star pattern. Just continue watching the video and I will show you how I did it. First, before I apply any makeup at all, I put on some black lenses. Then I primed my face with the Studio Perfect Photo Loving Primer in clear. I'm applying this to my face using my fingers. Next, I'm applying the Stay Matte but Not Flat Liquid Foundation in Ivory and I'm applying it using a makeup sponge. I'm applying it all over my face, avoiding the area around my eyes where I have some dark circles, which I'm gonna cover up using some concealer. I'm using the Gotcha Covered Full Coverage Concealer in the shade Alabaster. I'm applying the concealer using a brush and then I'm using the makeup sponge to blend it out. Then I'm setting the makeup using the HD Studio Photogenic Finishing Powder. Wanting my face to be a bit more pale, I'm also applying some of the Whipped Cream Single Eyeshadow. I'm also applying some of the Gotcha Covered Concealer to my eyebrows, just so the pigments I'm gonna apply later will stick better. Then I'm taking the Liquid Suede Cream Lipstick in the shade Alien and I'm applying it along my hairline, drying it out in my hair. And I'm taking a flat foundation brush and I'm blending the lipstick down towards my forehead. And I'm also dragging the brush down my cheeks. After blending out the lipstick, I'm applying the dark grey pigment called Gunmetal in my hairline. I'm also dragging it down to the hollows of my cheeks. Next, I'm taking the dark blue pigment called Constellation and I'm blending it in, also dragging it further down my forehead. Then I'm taking the purpley blue pigment called Egotastic and I'm blending even further down my forehead. I'm also blending and deepening the cheeks. As I'm moving further down my forehead, I'm moving on to purple pigment. I'm starting with the darkest shade called Potion, then I'm moving on to a lighter shade called Nightingale, and I'm finishing up with the lightest purple called Froyo. This is creating a nice gradient which I'm also applying to my cheeks. Then I'm using a smaller brush and I'm applying some of the Potion pigment to my nose. And I'm using the dark blue pigment called Constellation to deepen the color. I'm also applying some of the blue pigment down from my nose towards my cupid's bow. Moving on to my eyes, I'm taking the black shade from the Full Throttle eyeshadow palette called Haywire and I'm applying it in the outer and inner corner of my eyes. I'm blending it in my crease so only the middle part of my eyelid is without eyeshadow. Then I'm taking a fluffier brush without any product and I'm blending the edges of the eyeshadow to avoid any harsh lines. I'm also applying the black eyeshadow to my lower lash line in the outer and inner corner, leaving the middle part bare. I'm mixing the Froyo and the Nightingale pigments and I'm applying it to make a nice transition between the gradient of my forehead and the black eyeshadow. Next, I'm using this gorgeous pigment called Luna and I'm applying it as a highlighter. I'm applying it on the tip of my nose, down the bridge of my nose, on my cheekbones, on my forehead, on my cupid's bow and on my chin. Now I'm going to finish my eyes and I'm starting by applying the Jumbo Eye Pencil in the shade Milk to the middle of my eyelid and the middle of my lower lash line. And I'm using a brush to blend it out. I'm using this white base to make the eyeshadows pop. I'm taking the bright yellow shade from the Ultimate Brights palette and I'm applying it all over the white base. I'm also adding some of the bright green and the bright orange. To make it pop a bit more, I'm also adding some of the Brighten Up, Go HAM and Insomnia pigments. On my lower lash line, I'm using the bright orange and the bright pink from the Ultimate Bright palette. And I'm also dragging the orange and pink in streaks down my cheeks. Next, I'm gonna line my eyes in an eyebrow pencil in the shade Black, and I'm pulling the skin down because I wanna be extra careful when I'm wearing lenses so I don't poke myself in the eye. I'm also lining my upper lash line with the same black eyeshadow I used before from the Full Throttle Haywire palette. And I'm putting the eyeshadow on my ears and down my neck. Normally I would remove my earrings, but I tried and they're stuck, so they'll just have to stay. I'm gonna finish the rest of my face later. For now I'll move down my neck. And I'm using the Liquid Suede Cream Lipstick in the shade Alien, making a line across my chin, and I'm applying it down my neck. I'm also applying it to my shoulders, and I'm using a foundation brush to blend it out. On my chest, I'm using a purple lipstick. I'm using the Liquid Suede Cream Lipstick in the shade Amethyst, and this is just a base, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm using a foundation brush to blend it out, and I'm also blending it together with the black on my neck. Then, using the same pigments as I used on my face, starting with the dark grey pigment called Gunmetal, I'm applying it to the black area on my neck, but not the black areas on my shoulders. Then I'm using the dark blue called Constellation, and I'm blending it together with the dark grey, just as I did on my forehead. Next I'm using the purplish blue called Ecotastic, and I'm blending it into the darker blue and further down my chest. Then I'm taking the purple pigment called Potion, and I'm applying it to the rest of the purple areas on my chest. I'm blending in some of the lighter purple pigment called Nightingale on the bottom, and then I'm highlighting with the lightest purple pigment called Froyo. And now it's time to make the Northern Lights. First I'm taking the jumbo eye pencil in the shade Milk, and I'm stippling a straight line across my chest. This is going to be where the Northern Lights starts. Then I'm taking the bright yellow shade from the Vivid Brights palette, and I'm applying it to the bottom half of the line. Next I'm taking the bright green shade from the same palette, and I'm applying it on the upper half of the line. I'm using another Liquid Suede Cream lipstick. This one is called Pink Lust, and I'm making lines on top of the lines, and I'm blending them out using a brush. On top of the pink lipstick, I'm applying some of the red pigment called Grey. I'm applying this in randomly placed lines. Then, using some of the light green pigment in the shade Insomnia, I'm dragging some green lines up in the pink. I'm applying some of the Go HEM, which is a gold pigment, onto the yellow, and I'm also dragging lines onto the pink. I'm going back and forth with this until I'm happy with the result. I'm also adding some of the blue-green pigment called Peacock and Vegas Baby, which is a sparkly white yellowish color. And I'm also adding some of the pigment called Brighten Up, which is a white pale golden pigment. When I'm happy with my Northern Lights, I'm moving on to the bear pattern. Before I started, I drew a bear on a piece of paper which has the size I want and the shape I want, and I cut it out. And I'm using it now to help me draw the bear on my skin. Since the bear is supposed to be a star pattern, it's geometric. So I'm just holding the paper bear against my skin, making the dots, and then I'm making the line in between the dots afterwards. I'm doing small parts at a time, so I'm sure to get it right. When I'm done, I'm retracing the lines to make them thicker. And I'm gluing on some silver chunky glitter like stars where it's angled or the lines meet. When I'm finished with the bear, I'm taking the same white liquid liner and I'm making small white dots and small white stars all across my chest. I'm also doing this all over my forehead, down my cheeks and on my nose. I'm also making a straight line underneath each of my eyes, and I'm making a lot of small stars and a few dots. Then I'm filling in my eyebrows just a tiny bit to make them a bit more even with the dark gray pigment in the shade Gunmetal. Back to my chest, it's time to make some trees, and to do this I'm using the vinyl liquid liner. So I'm just using the liquid liner to make black tree shapes across my chest. Again, I'm using the liquid suede cream lipstick in the shade Alien. I'm using it to color the part underneath the trees black. Connecting the black parts on my chest to the ones on my shoulders, and I'm also redoing the lines on the ones on my shoulders. And now it's time to finish my face. I'm using the double stack mascara, and for my upper lashes I'm using Wicked Lashes in the style Amplified. Before I put on some lower lashes, I'm gonna apply some glitter, and I'm starting by applying some glitter primer before I apply some big chunky purple glitters and some of the face and body glitter called Crystal. And after I applied the glitter, I put on some lower lashes. These are some chopped up old ones. And to finish off my face, I'm starting by applying the blue pigments to my lips. I'm applying it around my lips too to make kind of a diffused smudged look. I'm applying the liquid suede cream lipstick in the shade Alien, and I'm blending it into the blue pigments using a brush. My makeup is done, and I'm moving on to my hair. I'm taking some hair gel, it can be any type of hair gel, and I'm pouring some into a container. Then I'm taking the rest of the face and body glitter in Crystal, and I'm pouring all of it into the hair gel. I'm also adding different colors of big glitters. Then I'm mixing it all together using a tint brush. You can also use a flat foundation brush or a paint brush if you want to. And I already had my hair in a tight ponytail, so I'm just painting it on. I'm also applying some to my forehead just so everything blends well together. And don't worry, since the glitter is mixed with hair gel, it's easy peasy to wash out of your hair. The last thing I did was to paint my hand just like I did my chest. And the look is done. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to, subscribe to my channel.